What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today, we'll be discussing the full moon total eclipse in the sign of Pisces. I'll be giving insights for each sign, so let's get into it. First and foremost, people, welcome to September. It is September 2025. And our first important piece of astrological insight here is that Saturn has retrograded back into the sign of Pisces. It is at 29 degrees Pisces, the last degree of the zodiac. It's going to be retrograding back until February of next year. It's going to go as far back into Pisces as 25 degrees. And another key thing to keep in mind here is that it's going to eventually come into a trine with who? Jupiter in Cancer, which Jupiter in Cancer is harmonious with this full moon total eclipse. We got a lot going on. But what we want to do with this opportunity that Saturn in Pisces is presenting is to make sure we are tying up the loose ends that enable us to walk into our future with no baggage. So we got to think to ourselves, what themes were playing out during Saturn and Pisces as a whole? And just a few months ago, how did they culminate? So another thing Saturn and Pisces is presenting is the opportunity to realign your spiritual will or focus. Pisces is an imaginative sign. So while Saturn is here coming out of that tight conjunction with Neptune that it was holding, we want to reimagine particular structures and take the requisite actions towards making them real. So moving on to this full moon total eclipse in the sign of Pisces, let's remind ourselves that full moons are a time of release, and total eclipses really signify the ending of one particular cycle through the release of the things that we learned during that time. So with it being in Pisces, I'm going to focus on the theme of disillusionment. So what can be coming to the surface on this particular full moon is disillusionment around particular beliefs that we had, possibly connected to the axis or areas of life involved with Virgo and Pisces. But the key towards evolving past this is accepting the disillusionment. And disillusionment is simply knowing that at one time I held a strong belief or desire for something that I ultimately found out no longer served my highest good, or really wasn't serving it good from the beginning. This is a key part of spiritual life. This is a key part of spiritual evolution and really encompasses the idea of letting go. So when we can let go from the idea we held or the belief or desire that we held, when we can let go of that, we're able to see it in its totality. So this is where the influence of the Leo energy that's been present here, with Mercury going through Leo, Venus being here now, there's a particular light of self that's been shining. And it's been giving us the opportunity to embrace that self. And I've told you guys before that a lot of these transits have been opening up the ability to channel the future self. And a lot of the work that we do here this year is affecting our future self and ultimately bringing us closer to that with the correct decisions. I'm going to start with Pisces risings here and give you my insight on how you can take advantage of this full moon, things to embrace, things to let go. And the first house is your physical vessel. It is how you present yourself. So for Pisces rising, I see it being the end of a particular cycle in regards to identity structure. I'm going to give an example of saying maybe 7-8 years ago, you got a new hairstyle. It could be like dreadlocks. That's a very Pisces type thing. And at that time, that hairstyle or how you were presenting yourself was reflective of the phase that you were in. For all Pisces risings, you want to ask yourself, does the way that I present myself match up with who I currently am and how I desire to be seen? Because there can be a disillusionment of that the particular identity you adopted is who you're always supposed to be. And it's never really about the identity, but more about the values that the identity for the time instills within us. So this full moon can be asking you to let go of an over-identification with a particular part of self or way of being. Okay? So experimenting with your physical vessel, embracing something new can be a real way to charge up, your energy. Another thing would be just in how you're presenting yourself. What have you learned on your spiritual journey that you may now feel compelled to share? For everyone, we're going to want to look at where our natal north node is and kind of check in with like, okay, where is this current north node pushing me, or how is this current north node pushing me towards my natal destiny? For Aquarius rising, this is affecting your second house, your ability to generate wealth, your particular value system. What I see here is a letting go of old values in order to embrace the new. An example would be, let's say you're AI resistant, and to this point you haven't really experimented with any forms of AI. What I suspect that if you do, you may find a new financial outlet, something that helps your current financial situation. But overall, the idea is experimenting with the new. So as I said before, pay attention to your natal north node, but you also want to look at like how you're expressing your Aquarius ascendant. Are you tech savvy? Are you allowing technology to enhance particular areas of your life? Things like that. Capricorn risings. Eclipse is occurring within your third house. There's a particular ending coming in regards to possibly, career or a route that your skills have allowed you to take. This one is an interesting one, but it just talks about being able to pivot here, right? And how you see yourself. So perspective is going to be key. So letting go of old mental models, old ways of applying logic, and possibly embracing more, spiritual movements, having more faith, right? Using affirmations. So wherever things have felt stagnant, the key is going to be injecting more spiritual or Pisces-like things into that area. For Sagittarius rising, this is occurring in your fourth house, and this deals with family. This deals with our roots. And Pisces deals with boundaries. So simply put, if you've needed to instill particular boundaries in this area or other areas or with people you're emotionally connected to, this full moon is going to remind you of the need to do so. And in doing so can be very empowering, okay? There can also be, during this time, like a revealing of particular secrets or certain insights that you may have had or felt coming to the light, kind of giving you that confirmation to make certain moves going forward. So here in the fourth house, this full moon can really shine a light on emotional complacency. Ultimately, it's going to force you to make certain emotional moves that you probably have refrained from. And like I said, it revolves around establishing boundaries. Could be about, isolating yourself, taking back more of your energy, things like that. For Scorpio risings, this full moon is occurring in your fifth house. And a lot of this is going to deal with disillusionment around romance, creativity, and your overall approach. I think a lot of Scorpios are going to see where they may have put too much energy in a particular direction, or maybe clung a little bit too tight to particular ideals. And this full moon is asking you to, let go and embrace, new type of experiences in different forms. This, of course, squares, Aquarius. So what it could be highlighting for Scorpios, where you've really been fixed within your desires or your sense of self. There's a need to embrace reinvention and also like experimentation, but creative experimentation. Right. Libra rising, this is occurring in your 6th house and very significant. As you know, for many of you, the houses are opposite here. So it's shining a light on where you've held yourself back or where you've lacked particular direction. So when it comes to your 6th house, you'll really want to evaluate what are the most positive or productive structures for you. For Libra, I would encourage you to like reflect back, because you go through a lot of ebbs and flows. So from 2020 to now, there could have been times in which your routine were more effective. So for Libra, if you feel like you've fallen off somewhere along the line, you'll want to like retrace your steps to see like, okay, what habits or situations that I adopt that kind of led to this imbalance, 6th house. Another thing that is asking Libra to do is make time on the daily for letting go or spiritual practice in its various forms, whatever that be. Allow your spirituality and your faith to serve or empower your day-to-day. So like Virgo rises, this is occurring in your 7th house, and this disillusionment is going to deal with relationships. But the key thing right now is Venus is here in Leo, in the 12th house, illuminating your vision around this. So where you may have seen things wrong before, you got no choice but to see them clear now. So it's truly at this moment about embracing the truth in regards to your relationship with others. A lot of Virgo types tend to feel overlooked, but it's really a simple thing. If you become determined to put in the work, you will be acknowledged, seen, and respected. It's just a matter of recognizing it for yourself. So this is one where it's like you see the light of where ego can lead you astray. So simply put, Virgo, the more humble you are during this time, the more you focus on the work, the more clarity that is there, and ultimately improves the harmony within your personal relationship. And rather than just harmony, it's satisfaction. The more satisfied you are with self, the more satisfied you are with others. Leo risings, just like the Scorpio risings, this can highlight disillusionment around intimate matters, romantic matters. It can signal endings and necessary endings. So honestly put, for some of the fixed signs, you're probably years overdue from ending particular relationships or how you show up in them, right? So let's just say here let's say like a Leo rising, experiencing, some squares or oppositions, that can be highlighting to them negative characteristics that they've allowed to develop within their personal, relationship. So there's a need here, goes back to Venus being in Leo right now, to claim more self-respect, to express more self-radiance through your personal creativity and magnetism. So for the Cancer risings, this is occurring in your 9th house. And the way I see it for you guys, this is about changing your mindset and how you approach, let's say, your goals or even your spiritual life. What I'm seeing here for Cancer is a need to tap more into the Capricorn way of doing things, which embraces routine, discipline, and like focus. What I see here is that Cancer rising has possibly been in cycles of like looking at the big picture too much. And it's a time where you got to lock into the details. So Virgo season can be really empowering for you if you do those things. So there could be old beliefs around like how things need to be. I'll give you a great example. Like there are people out there who have I call it like a phobia. It's like a school phobia. And they may want to do things in life that require them to undergo schooling in some type of way, but they find ways to avoid it. No, I can do it without school. But ultimately, when they reach that point where they embrace that process, they see the doors really open up. So the next thing with the ninth house too is that it deals with mentors. So I think I see for Cancers, risings, that there's a need to accept mentorship or guidance and understanding that your mindset needs to kind of change in a way. So tap in, confirm, let me know how that's been playing out. Gemini risings, this is occurring in your 10th house. I've seen quite a few Gemini risings this year. So I know many are in transition career-wise. And Uranus is in your sign. So embrace the new. Just like I said for other signs, if you are actively taking time to learn new skills, it's going to pay off. So if you've been doing that as a Gemini rising, this could be a time where you just have to have enough faith or courage, belief to change the scenery or go in that new direction, right? The key is to just make sure you're planning and you've done your due diligence. But this could be one where if you find yourself consistently unhappy or unenthused regarding your career, that's your spirit telling you to make that change. Taurus rising, this full moon is asking you to really take a look at how you approach your goals. And the 11th house deals with networking. But you want to look at like the how you approached them to this point. Have you been too independent? Where do you need, more help or assistance? So this one is requiring Taurus to communicate its needs a little bit more. Use your voice and communicate particular things that you may need. And then we have Aries rising. This full moon occurring in your 12th house. This is asking you to lock in more spiritually, to be a little bit more consistent within your spiritual practices and maybe not so impulsive. Found yourself making progress, let's say taking a step forward, but then 2 steps back. You'll really want to pay attention towards things you may do to self-sabotage that. Also, just take a look at where you have been unfulfilled or where you feel like you could have done more and seek to switch your mind state or approach there, spiritualize it a little bit more, right? Inject more belief, consciously try to manifest, via that area. So Aries, I also see for you during this cycle a need to kind of spend more time with yourself. And I think there can be more positive benefits that occur from that. Things just opening up, opportunities coming to you. So be mindful of the relationships that you have and how much energy you devote to them. So y'all, this was my interpretation of the full moon eclipse. I hope everyone enjoys. Feel free to support my channel. If you need a reading, go to my website, GeminiBrown.com. Till next time. Yeah, it's Nalo, not Ether. Back to the future, going from a steady path. Rain thundering, wondering if it's gonna last. Forever in my zone, steady kid at math. I seen love get gone like it did it fast. Had to play to win, couldn't stay longer. Then I went within, only made me stronger. No longer tied to the all feelings and such. I got even with the dealing, feelings burned like a Dutch. Still caking, pockets never penny fair. Used to have a pad pool, like Remy bed. Never simping, flows kidding, honey dead. Forever pimping, RP my Uncle Kenny Red. A new era, going from this terror. Ain't trying to make up, so fucking mascara. Doing me, no longer holding back, feeling free. And no longer turning back. In fact, I moved up to the top floor and got help. My new chick type lit, and she got wealth. Note to self, always stay true. Be real to the game, it'll never play you. And this what I know. Nalo.